Well, it's week 11 of the high school football season. Can't believe it's already playoff time. And again, that means it's time for another preview review here on WHBCSports.com. And I've gone back into the well and decided to pick out one of the old voices, the old experienced veteran voices of our station here, and that's Frank Cilona. And Frank, as I said, I just can't believe we're through 10 weeks. We've seen Massillon play McKinley. We've talked playoffs already, and here we are, week 11. It just doesn't feel right. It really doesn't.
No, it doesn't, and it goes so fast. We talk about this every year. It just goes so fast from week 1 to week 10. Now we are here in week 11. The playoffs, they're going to start this weekend, so it's an exciting time for 7 teams in Stark County.
Now, you had a really exciting pair of games last week on TV. You had, on Friday, Hoover going to Jackson and winning 42-35. And then on Saturday, you got to be a part of the 129th broadcast of the, well, not the 129th broadcast, but the 129th meeting between Massillon and McKinley. 2 excellent games, 2 great rivalries, and they really lived up to all the expectations this year.
Yeah, they did. Going back to Friday night, there's always that backyard rivalry with Jackson and North Canton Hoover, and it was a game that both teams really at the time needed to win to get into the playoffs. Unfortunately, neither team did get into the playoffs. North Canton with the win on Friday night, they grinded it out against a very good Jackson team. Unfortunately, they just fell short of making it into the playoffs. But what a ball game that night under some tough conditions. The rain certainly was coming down, but Hoover did what they had to do. Adam Grigolio had a great game. He was a kid that can run the football very effectively for the Hoover Vikings. So it was great to see them win, and it was unfortunate that they did not get into the playoffs based on their schedule and the wins that they have, but they also had some losses that they probably shouldn't have had. So, but moving forward then to Saturday, you've got the big one. What a ball game that turns out to be every year. You say it all the time, throw out the records, and sometimes that sounds like it's a line, but yes, in that ball game you always throw out the records because there are teams that aren't that good maybe throughout the regular season that come up and surprise that other team and will win. But this year both teams are going to make the playoffs, or they have made the playoffs, so looking forward to seeing both of them maybe go far into the playoffs run.
Now we have a slew of playoff matchups this week. 7 teams from Stark County clinch berths into the playoffs, and we'll tell you those games right now. Friday night, Massillon takes on Walnut Ridge. That's a home game for the Tigers. That's in Division 2. McKinley will go to Solon. That's in Division 1. Marlington travels to Canfield, and then Alliance goes to Medina Buckeye. Those last 2 games in Division 3, those are the Friday games. Then Saturday, there's 3 more games that will take place in Stark County. East Canton, which is where we're at right now, but it's raining. East Canton will host Ashtabula St. John.
Right.
Tuslaw will go to Orville, and then Sandy Valley will take on Manchester. These are all very interesting matchups, and you can look at matchups in the playoffs sometimes, Frank, and say that one team is maybe the favorite over the other, but all of these games kind of have that feel to them that they could be down to the wire.
Yeah, and for Stark County teams, we always say that the quality of football in Stark County is probably second to none anywhere in the state and maybe even in the nation. So it's always, anytime we have a Stark County team in the playoffs, if they're not playing another Stark County team, I think they have a chance because of the quality football that we get in this area, the quality of coaching, the players and so forth, and the fan support as well. And that helps a lot of times when you're playing in a playoff game.
It absolutely does. Now our schedule Friday will be McKinley at Solon on the radio, Dan Belford, Joe Palmisano, Denny Kincaid, and then Chris Golian on the call there. And then our stream game will be Alliance going to Medina Buckeye. Then we flip on Saturday, and there's a matchup I want to talk to you about here in a moment, but the 2 matchups we're doing that night, East Canton versus Ashtabula St. John on the radio, and then on the stream, Manchester playing host to Sandy Valley. This is the game I wanted to talk to you about. I know you spoke to head coach Brian Gamble before we started rolling here, and he feels pretty good about this matchup, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I think that he's very confident in his team, in his quarterback especially, in his running back and his offensive line, and the defense certainly has to play well in that ball game because Manchester has a pretty good running back in Ethan Wright, and they've got to stop him. He's number 7. He's going to line up anywhere on that field. He'll line up in a running back position, in a wide receiver position, as a quarterback maybe at sometimes. So they've got to stop the run. That is key for them. But I did talk to Brian Gamble last night, and again, they're coming into this ball game playing that underdog role, and they like that. They're not afraid of that. They want people to think that maybe they can overlook them, but don't be surprised if the Cardinals come to play on Saturday night.
Cameron Blair, that sophomore quarterback, he's a good one. He's going to be a good one in all of his years at Sandy Valley. I know a lot of people have really high aspirations for what he can become this season. Well, I think that'll do it for us here on the preview review. We're into week 11, and it's just an exciting time to be a football fan here in Stark County. He's Frank Cilona. I'm John Bazika. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the playoffs. And yes, playoffs, they're here. It's official.